Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So today we're going over our day one decks for the final card of the season, Sasquatch. Sasquatch is a 6/10 that reads costs 1 less for each card you played last turn. So another interesting way to reduce a 10 power card, kind of like She-Hulk in a way, or maybe a little bit like Hitmonkey that gets a payoff for playing a bunch of other cards, but a little bit different in that it is rewarding you for all the stuff that you did on your prior turn. In terms of the Spotlight Week, we have Havoc and Ravonna joining alongside Sasquatch. Even though these are both Series 4 cards, they are both very strong and very meta relevant, so I think if you're missing most of these cards, it's probably a pretty good week. In terms of Sasquatch, I think the card looks pretty solid overall. The main thing I think this is going to enable is just more decks using Mysterio, or the decks that are already playing Mysterio getting another big threat out of it alongside Mockingbird. Mockingbird definitely led to a lot of people playing Mysterio again, as it makes it essentially a 2/9 that you can sometimes get even lower, and Mysterio on curve enables a 3/10 Sasquatch on turn 3, which is pretty good. So I think this card's going to be fairly impactful. In fact, I think all the cards, even like last week's card Namora, ended up being more impactful than I initially expected. So I think Sasquatch definitely going to make some waves, and I'm looking forward to grabbing it later this afternoon. Starting it out, we have Bounce. Bounce is quite good right now. Obviously, there are counters to this archetype, namely things that are running like Killmonger with Invisible Woman or Ghost or some Shadow King stuff. But Sasquatch does help a little bit against those kinds of decks, since most of your other power in this deck is going to be buffs, and Sasquatch doesn't really care about buffs. It's just a big stat stick. The one thing I'm wondering about is if this results in us finally cutting Hitmonkey from the deck, which would be sad to see, because I think Hitmonkey's always been an iconic part of Bounce. But when you're viewing Sasquatch as another potential thing to combo into, or Sasquatch makes it so you want to play your Mysterio earlier, whereas with Hitmonkey, you usually want to play Mysterio on the later turns of the game. So I'm curious if Bounce will end up working having both in here, or if it might just finally be time to cut Hitmonkey in favor of Sasquatch, since essentially Hitmonkey is often being like a 3/8 or a 3/10. So if we can have Sasquatch be that more consistently and not being, pushed into having to play Mysterio on turn 5 or turn 6, I think that is something the deck will explore, what it looks like without Hitmonkey here. But I am going to start with Hitmonkey because I like the card a lot and it's always been fun in Bounce. Sage definitely gave a pretty big boost to Bounce, just another cheaper card that gets some really big numbers towards the end of the game. We have our standard scalers and things like Kitty Pryde, Angela, Bishop. Might be worth trying to squeeze Elsa back in, but I think all these cards are a little bit more appealing than Elsa in this kind of list, because we already have a decent amount of stats, so I don't think we have to worry about her buff at quite as much. Then Hood, Iceman, just stats, some disruption. Nico for the flexibility. We have both our Bounce cards and Beast and Falcon. It's possible this deck might just be a Beast deck. I know one of the versions of Bounce out there right now isn't even running Falcon, so it's possible you don't necessarily need that, but I do think if we're trying out Sasquatch, having ways to get our cards back to hand to play them out to reduce the Sasquatch seems rather appealing. On the other side of the coin, and not as big a fan of Bounce, this is a version I think you will like to try. So this is the Lady Deathstrike kind of tempo destroy style deck. Traditionally, a lot of these have been running Annihilus and Sentry, but I've been trying versions without that, and I find the core of the deck still works very well. And it's a deck that very easily slots in Sasquatch. There are turns where you're playing a lot of your cheaper cards, so you can reduce Sasquatch that way. And we are already running Mysterio for the Mockingbird synergy, so the fact that we can tempo out Mysterio on turn 2, potentially play Sasquatch on 3, and then also have a 2-cost or maybe even smaller Mockingbird later on in the game is very appealing for adding Sasquatch to this kind of deck. A lot of decks are running powerful 1-drops, especially Bounce, so Killmonger decks definitely on the rise right now in terms of power. And Deathstrike's really great too, whether it's for cleaning up a bunch of 3 or less power stuff, or maybe denying your opponent's void or something like that. Deathstrike adds quite a bit of value and can contribute to reducing our death, popping our X23 or getting rid of our hood if we no longer need it. If you like the tempo style of destroy decks, I think this one is a ton of fun, and I'm excited to see how Sasquatch does in it. You might be noticing a trend here with Mockingbird decks, and that's because Sasquatch just complements them really nicely without having to go out of your way to build around it a whole lot, because just having Mysterio in your deck makes Sasquatch a pretty good card. This is a Iron Patriot shell. I know this one hasn't been as popular more recently, but I think it's still a fairly strong deck. You could also consider Ultron in that Doom spot, depending on your preference. I opted to go with Doom as I prefer it off of Iron Lad, and it's a bit less weak to stuff like Killmonger, or just, you know, filling the board when you don't want to. But yeah, Iron Patriot, we spam some stuff across the board. We have a lot of ways of reducing this Mockingbird with Mr. Sinister, Brood, Absorbing Man. Lad can copy some of those, Mysterio. And because of Mysterio and some of the other cheaper things, including Wasp, there should be plenty of times when we're able to get Sasquatch down for 3 or less cost, which is pretty good. And then the last deck of the bunch here, we have a Black Knight deck. So I've been experimenting a bit with Black Knight. I'm not sure if Sasquatch or this version of it is going to be the best one, but I do think there is something here to these Black Knight Ghost Rider kinds of decks. We are running Jubilee and Blink as additional ways to cheat out big things. I'm not 100% sure if Mockingbird is going to be the right call here, but it did seem a bit more flexible. Plus, if we're able to get down, let's say, our Mysterio and then 2 of our big things, be it cheating out with Jubilee or Blink, getting a big Ebony Blade from discarding. If we can get 2 big things out, we can get Scar down to 2 cost, and then if Mysterio's out, Mockingbird will only cost 2 as well. So we can get those down, potentially play one of our other 1-drops or something as well, like Blade if we haven't already. But yeah, just some big stat sticks. Now, the one thing is, I am curious if the Mockingbird is good enough, because unfortunately she doesn't buff up the Scar, or reduce the cost of the Scar, rather. So in a version I've been trying before Sasquatch's release, I've been experimenting with something like Crossbones or Cull Obsidian in that spot, because it's just a big 4/10 that contributes to Scar, which is nice. But I figured since we're going to run Mysterio to enable the Sasquatch, it made sense to try Mockingbird, since it's also a big body that is fairly easy to reduce just by running this 1 card in your deck, which generally is pretty well statted on its own. So I think this one definitely will take a little bit of tinkering to refine the best way to do it, but I think the core here is generally strong, and it's been neat to see people having some success with the Black Knight deck again, even though Zabu is no longer a part of it. And yeah, it's going to wrap it up for our Day 1 decks for Sasquatch. So let me know what you think of this card in the comments below. This is one of the cards of the season I'm more excited for, as I like most of the decks that it has potential in, just because I like Mysterio a lot. So looking forward to this one. Definitely going to be trying out a bunch of stuff with it later on today. If you want to grab any of these decks for yourself, there'll be links in the description where you can import them into the game. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.